Queer youth are suffering. They're suffering when they come to school. We see larger suicidal ideation, we see higher truancy rates, higher rates of bullying, higher dropout rates, we see struggles in employment, and we see students who don't want to be part of the system because school does not speak to them.
They feel alienated a lot of the times. They feel a lot of loss, especially when they lose their families and they lose their friends when they come out.
It's a responsibility of us, as teachers, to meet the needs of these students and to not marginalize them in classrooms, which is mostly their day-to-day reality.
I remember one time we were reading The Catcher in the Rye, and there was this one student who's pretty shy, didn't really speak much on the class, and we were talking about Holden Caulfield, and his identity, and why is he so angry, why does he think the world's phony. And this student raised his hand and said, "This is the first time the guy spoke, I can remember the whole year." And he said, he thought that Holden Caulfield was gay, and that a lot of his inner turmoil and tension originated from the fact that he was trying to come to terms with his sexuality, and he was very uncomfortable in a heteronormative world. I remember when he said, Holden Caulfield could be gay, that just 10 people in the class started laughing immediately. And the teacher even too kind of chuckled. And he really didn't participate in the class from there, and then I'm out.
In curriculum, for example, in reading and writing assignments, queer youth aren't included, they're marginalized.
Literature is a very powerful medium that can speak to the lives of kids.
There's that sanctity of turning to a young adult novel and finding yourself in the novel. To try on identities, to explore identities that you might not have had the opportunity to try on.
Readers who say, "You've changed my perspective with your books. You've helped me understand my friends and myself. And you just told the story of my life."
My first novel was called Ash, and it's a retelling of Cinderella with a lesbian twist. It's great when classrooms and teachers can have books available for teens to pick up if they're interested in them, books with queer characters, books where that kind of experience is integral to the story. Also to make it easy for teens to find that stuff, so they don't even, if they're embarrassed to ask, so they don't have to ask. So it's just there for them on a daily basis.
But I think there's this thing where it's like, wait until college, and then you can explore and be yourself, when there are a lot of kids who are like, I can't wait that long. I have 4 years in high school, I have middle school. This feels really, really long. No one ever starts out a bully, it's kind of taught. No one ever starts out racist, it's taught. No one ever starts out being homophobic, it's taught. So I think before something tragic happens, or before something really damages people, it's important to have conversations and dialogue and education beforehand.
Each of the books that I have written, they've all been some aspect of me, with the characters in Rainbow Boys. One of them, his thing is coming to accept and love himself. Another one is, finding someone to love. Another one is finding someone who'll love him. They're all parts that, things that I've gone through in my life, and things that we all go through in our lives. And so again, that provides the access points that a straight reader will read the book and say, well, I'm not gay, but I've felt those things. I've struggled with loving myself for whatever reasons, or finding someone to love, or finding someone who'll love me.
I think that literature is a really wonderful tool for building empathy and compassion in people. People who have discomfort or anger or even hatred toward queer people have those feelings because they don't know anyone who is queer, or they haven't really had to think about how that might feel. And I think that reading a book in which the main characters are queer can give someone kind of an inside picture of what that feels like. And that may make them uncomfortable, but it also may make them realize that these people, that queer people, are just like them.
I think people get to know more people who are not like them and decide for themselves whether they want to live in a world of tolerance and respect, or they want to live in a very closed mentality.
And so as a teacher, I can be front and center for my students, and I can be an authority, but I can't be the only authority for every child in my classroom. And so that's what a young adult novel does, is it touches on themes that are important for young teens and in particular for queer youth.
Queering literature is a way for students to see their lives reflected back in a positive manner, because they're so often seeing themselves portrayed negatively. They're experiencing bullying. They're not seeing positive representations of themselves. And literature is a vehicle, it's a pedagogical tool to help students feel better about their own lived realities. It's up to teachers and administrators and teacher educators to really work with teachers to teach youth about how important it is to affirm the realities that they experience in their day-to-day worlds.
It's not like you're just, these books are just kind of entering the mind of a young person and they just stay there. Like, young people talk. They talk to their friends and they talk about these issues and they share books with their friends. So it raises the visibility of queer youth and their issues among their peer set. And then they have conversations with their families, and they have language to have conversations with their families. And then they'll go back and push their teachers.
Readers are finding something really special in these books.
I absolutely, unequivocally stand with queer youth.
I 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 stand for queer youth. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
I stand with queer youth.
We stand with queer youth because they're worth it.
I stand with you, no matter where you are, and hopefully, there comes a day when we don't need hashtags for people's right to just be who they are and to live and survive.